Welcome to the I Need Coffee and Better Ideas podcast, where we caffeinate your brain with the freshest takes in news media.
Web, usually you have amazing vanity metrics. Oh, we have 2 million visitors per month. Wow. We have, on the homepage today, we had, 200,000 people. Wow. But when you look at the engagement of the web, it was a mess. People were coming, maybe 2-story, 3-story, and the experience was on-page story, I'm bored, I quit.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We are joined today by a very interesting person, I think. He's VP of Digital Product over at La Presse in Canada. Jean-Marc, nice to have you on.
Nice to meet you guys.
Great. La Presse is a customer of Norkon, just full transparency on that. So we've checked that box, Jean-Marc. But we wanted to have you on because we've heard that you are a great storyteller. And if there's anything this industry that we work in needs, it's great storytellers and great ways to transform the media industry. And to everyone who's tuned in before, you'll know that the first question is, Jean-Marc, how did you end up where you are today?
So, weird story, but basically I was a teacher while I was studying computer engineering, teacher of desktop publishing, and we're talking back of the days of the early 90s. First version of Illustrator, Photoshop 1, I remember. Quark Express was the big thing. PageMaker and Quark Express were the big thing. So because I was very good with computer, I was teaching. I work in a desktop. They call it publishing desktop. I don't know if you remember that. They call it service bureau, I think, in English. So they were the place when people would bring their cartridge to digital stuff to make films. And because of my engineer background, I was, very good at fixing the mistakes that the creator were doing. So basically, I started as a teacher, and then I worked in a newspaper in Sherbrooke that had a strike. So I was teacher then, and they had a strike, and they were making a newspaper for another customer, another publishing in Granby. And basically, I began in this weird condition, teacher and a strike, and I end up.
You might be the first teacher, actually. We've had this question to all our guests so far, and many started out as journalists and
Yes.
Have transformed either into editor, which is natural, but other types of jobs in the media space as well. But the teacher we've never had on.
It's really weird because when I look back in connecting the dots. Mm-hmm. I understand now that even if I had a lot of different digital, titles, like, production manager, I had CTO, I was color manager, if you can believe that. In fact, I see myself now clearly, I was a change manager for all those. So always at the forefront of changes and helping media adapt to this. And I think what's very interesting about media, maybe people don't realize it because they are in it, but we are like the canary in the mine. Because, when technology change happened to the way we consume information, people at the forefront of those changes are the media company.
Yes.
And it changed not only our business, it changed the behaviors of our readers and the behaviors of our advertisers. So everything's moved at the time. So when you think about, digital camera, when you think about the web, when you think about just, sending ads, digital ads by FTP or, so we had all those changes. And because the changes are accelerating, we just need to be better and better embracing this speed of change. So basically, the teacher and the engineer in me think I was a kind of perfect match to drive this continuous transformation in media.
Yep. And that's interesting. You mentioned things are speeding up, and they surely are. we, like you, go to many conferences, and pretty much every conference now has, to a large extent, AI use cases showcased and discussed how AI will impact media and how it's already impacting media. Um, in your line of work right now, what are the opportunities you see with AI in the newsroom? Because clearly there are opportunities and challenges for sure. But for a publisher in a market such as yours, I'm sure you're diving into use cases where AI can be of use, or what's your take on that?
I love this question. So let me go back and going meta a bit before answering it. Okay.
Sure.
You started by saying, you start about talking about storytelling. You start the interview with that, and I love it because for me as an engineer, what I want to create is experiences where the readers access to great storytelling on the medium or the format they're choosing. If they're picking, YouTube, or if they're picking a phone, or if they're picking a computer or a tablet, we need to create amazing digital story for them to get the attention. And what's interesting is advertisers are also about digital storytelling. And if you create engagement, you have this digital storytelling experiences. So why I found your question about AI so interesting, it's because we had this question every time since 20 years.
Yes.
When the web happened, and it changed everything about, and for us, the idea of going eventually digital only began with this idea that we had our own press in the building before, 6 press that were letter set. They were obsolete, and we invest and we decide, instead of installing new press by ourselves and training our print people on those presses and learning how to, we decided to go with a third party and to give our print facilities to a third party, because we realized we're not good printers. We stopped those presses two-thirds of the day. And when you think about it, a press is a machine to print money. You want it to run all the time. You don't want it to, you create value when it's running, right? So we say, what are we? Are we printers that are making news, or are we news storyteller? Are we reporters? Are we, what are we? And we are, and if we have $1, we prefer to invest it in content creation and reporting. So this idea become, each time a new technology happen, the question is, the first opportunity burger is, what are we about? And are we about, as an example, AI is an extraordinary tool for helping you redact, or, but is that the job of reporters, or the job of the reporter more about finding the stories before anybody knows? And we have to remember that AI is an amazing tool for automation, amazing tool for, it can work 7 days a week, 24 hours, have amazing tools to, and the way to create, reproduce solutions and that already existed. But if you present a new problem to AI, it's work, right? It doesn't. So same thing for the news. I mean, if you have the news out there and you want the synthesis of it, and you want a great tool to help you to read a report, a 600-page report, and to give you some important stuff in there, but to create the news, to find the news, to create the relationship with the sources, to fact check the stuff that is 90% of a reporter's job, AI can't do nothing. So each time a new technology happens, it's a great opportunity to look at what is that we do that create real value. And if AI is a commodity and 5 years from now and create tons of stories at a time, what are we doing that create a different value that AI can't do? And then focusing on this and realizing, oh my God, it can help me create more value because I can give to the AI all of this to automate. All of this, to help me translate or find verify some stuff. But the value I'm doing as a reporter, the value I'm doing as a media curatorship, saying this is an important story for you now, won't be a job of AI. So it's an amazing opportunity each time to realize what is a real value in the industry.
Definitely, and we've had similar conversations internally lately, where Norkon is a company that specializes in providing tools to newsrooms that help them tell live stories, and this is an area where AI will always struggle to generate the live news. It can aid in certain aspects of it, and we certainly have not explored all the use cases for it yet. It's still quite new. But when it comes to finding the stories and telling a compelling story and telling my big thing about this is that humans like to talk with humans and like to read what humans have thought about. Human thoughts. What am I? Where are you on that? Is that am I overthinking it or
I think we have to dissociate the storytelling part to finding the story part. So first, you need to find a story. So first, you need to find a character. You need to find, if we were in a movie making businesses, it was a story. What is the story of it, and why it's important, and what is the angle I want to tell the story, and what is and what user needs it's fitting. It's about to understanding.
user
So
needs? You're talking my love language now.
yeah, so this core need to be driven by humans. Okay, the storytelling part, I'm not so sure. I think AI are going to be very good at it. I think we can write a story and ask AI, make me a 5-minute clips about this, make me a PowerPoint presentation about this, make me stories on Instagram about it. Here's the pictures, here's the story, but the part that is creating and understanding the element, the angle, the sources, and making links to other stories. That's why it is important right now. So you can say it's prompt engineer, news prompt engineer. I don't care. I mean, you have to have someone that pick the ingredients of the stories, the angle, why it's important, fact check, bring more sources to the story. So we are like, like a chef in the kitchen, picking all the components before the AI was a robot making the soup.
Right.
Okay, and so we have to dissociate the storytelling part for the story creating part. For me, it's two things, and the thing sure it's for news. What I want is fact, and also people that pick it and say it is important, not for you, Berger. Because if it's just only important for you, we are going to be very good at picking stuff that are needed. But what we need is to save our society is a group of people that say this is the shared common experience that we need to have that are based on fact. And this shared experience is from there going to be the way we're going to drive our society. We need to create this shared media experience. And that's where human will be very important now and the future. The customization part, the storytelling part, everything that could be automated, we don't need to care too much.
Yes, totally. Looking at switching gears a little bit, but looking at automation, efficiency, cost saving is a big conversation in our industry these days. I've had several calls with publishers this week where they've told me about how they're looking at aspects of their newsroom or their production, how cost saving can be part of that. And I've asked several people, not just on this podcast, but when I meet them, you are a hybrid company today where you publish news both in print and digital. Traditionally on print. La Presse cut that completely in 2017, which is a bold move, right? Many of the people I've talked to have said, when I asked them what would happen if you cut print, they said point blank, we would be bankrupt. Why was La Presse able to make that switch, and why was it an important switch to go from both print and digital to digital only?
Okay, so that's a vast question, and so I'll try to be you have a lot of pieces on what you're telling in this question, Berger, because you talk about cost saving and you talk about. So for me, cost saving is a defense move. Yep. I think we need to be in the offense move. I think we should talk more about value creation instead of cost cutting. But I think when you are looking only at cost cutting is probably already too late. So sometimes you need to create costs to survive and then go back. But the problem right now is newsrooms are shrinking. And so when I'm looking at the media, I say, what can you do before shrinking your newsroom? Sometimes it's already too late. So a strategy of stopping the presses is from this DNA of what is our core value and what are the expenses or the thing we do that doesn't create any value, right? So that's how we look at it. What is our core value? Those are not expenses. Those are value creation. Anything else, any department else that are not supporting the creation of value should be shut down. So when we look at the story of La Presse Plus, it's basically we had a very tough time in 2008, 2009, probably like a lot of media, but here in Montreal, here in Canada, big advertisers because of the recession, car makers, telecommunication cut their advertisings, and La Presse were losing $2 million per month. And you have to understand that La Presse is a big deal here, but it's not New York Times. So we were about, I don't know, maybe at that time, I think, if my memory is right, 2,800 employees,
right?
About 300 people in the newsroom, maybe 275. What is interesting about the La Presse story from that point, okay, the almost bankrupt era to today, today we still have the same newsroom. We have 250 people. But La Presse is about 400 employees. So you see the ratio of core value creation to the ratio of not value creation change completely. And when I say we are 350 or 250, I think if my numbers are right, in the newsroom right now, we are now digital. Of the 400 people, we have now a team of, let's say, I think if we count it, maybe 80, 90 people from digital, so developers, product designers, behind teams, and we see them as value creation. They are not on the content creation, but they are on the experience creation. So my first point of view about it, why we did it, is basically because we asked the question in 2010, 2008, 2009, where we were losing all that money. Is wow, okay, so. It's easy. The part that is the most costly is the press. So let's stop the press. But the only experience we had that time that was digital was the web. And the web was a vanity thing. Was not a real business. When you look at web, usually you have amazing vanity metrics. Oh, we have 2 million visitors per month. Wow. We have, on the homepage today, we had, 200,000 people. Wow. But when you look at the engagement of the web, it was a mess. People were coming, reading maybe 2-story, 3-story, and the experience was on-page, story, on-page, story, on-page, I'm bored, I quit. And the newspaper experience was very different. People were spending 40, 50 minutes in it.
Right.
So the idea I had in beginning of, end of 2009, I was hearing rumors of the iPad. At that time, we thought we would call iSlate, and then we thought it would be a shrink Mac experience instead of an iPhone. Right. What if this device help us create a digital experience that is as engaging as the newspapers, but doesn't need a press.
Right.
So we start like that, and so that's the reason why we everything we did was about this. Okay, in a world where we have a digital experience as engaging as this newsprint, that means each time we invest $1, we don't need more paper, we don't need more ink, we don't need more truck, we don't need more printers, we don't need more. Oh my God, we're free.
Right.
And we do make it. And the reason I think we were successful is we start early and we build something that media forget, that is a digital brand.
Yeah, that's the core of it, right? Where you can have that brand where people can create a habit of coming back. They know that they can trust the source. They know that they will have a good time, for the lack of a better term. They get what they come for, right?
And yet you have to prove, and you have to evangelize, and you have to prove every day that there's a real value of having a group of people working together in a newsroom. The value is not having 200 bloggers or reporters. The value is having them working together, bumping their ideas and making the good curatorship. So the value is not only on the bodies, but it's also on this common brain and this newsroom. So we believe in it. And so the idea was, how can we save this brain and how can we make sure we create value? That's our jewel. And not thinking about and proving every day to our readers that there's more value of 200 of them working together than picking up from 200s anywhere else. And so creating this shared common media experience to make everybody on the same page. At least this is the core stories we need to be on the same page.
I am sure you and I can keep talking for a while. I have two more questions, and I know that La Presse Plus has been sort of a, I don't know if brainchild is a good term, or love child, or whatever I should call it. But I know that has been an important piece of the strategy for La Presse. How's it going, and what do you see? What's the future for La Presse Plus? Are you looking to lock down all pieces of content, or is it sort of the future will tell? What are your thoughts on Plus articles and paywalls?
Okay, so this question is amazing. So first, be careful with the thing you fall in love with, product and services. I mean, it will be a mistake for us to fall in love with La Presse Plus like some newspaper fall in love with their print. So what is the value? I told you, it's not the product. What is the value is the newsroom.
Right.
And so the biggest lesson we had from this experience is the recipe of success of today won't be a recipe of success of tomorrow. And what is the value right now? The biggest value we have right now is that we are good at digital storytelling. And whatever is going to happen, it's going to be digital. So we're fine. Right. But what with the product, we don't know. And the big value is we don't just have a good newsroom. We have now a core team of 80 people, digital people, business analysts and PO, who understand that we have to follow the market, and the market is changing quickly. So La Presse Plus is still about 66 or 70% of our businesses. We have the web, the app, mobile app, and the La Presse Plus. And all of three are different experiences. We have to create the best experience on the device you pick. And we find out that trying to create one type of experience and bring it to everywhere is a mistake, because you have to compromise all the time the product. And when you look at the three product, when you look at the audience, La Presse has about a daily audience of, 250,000 per day, not receiving the edition, reading the edition, and spending almost 35 minutes average on weekdays and more than 40 minutes on weekends. It's an amazing product. I think it will be unique. I think we won't be able to reproduce this experience because we converted people that was used to subscription newspapers or newsprint to this experience of, let's follow a through 80 pages. And it's very, very vivid right now. We still have, I think we still have a small, very small portion, but we still have growth in it. Okay.
Yep.
The mobile app is 2 times almost as the daily average use. Completely different audience. And as probably maybe when you look at the RPU, the average annual revenue per users, it's 6 times less than La Presse Plus.
Oh, wow.
And the web, we have a lot of users, but the RPU is 4 times less than the app. So our strategy is I mixed the number. It's 6 times web to the app and 4 times the app to La Presse Plus. So each time we move from web to the app, where we make the consideration, people install the app and decide to use it daily, we make 6 times as money per users than when they come. So we see all of this as value exchange. If we create value, we capture value. And each time we look, how does each feature, each product, all this is going to help us bring the value of the newsroom to the market, and how the product going to capture value from that experience to the business. And so I love the Disney quote that says, we don't make movies to make money, we make money to make more movies. Yeah. That's how we see it.
Great answer. As mentioned, I think we could keep going for a while, but we are running out of time. As always, my final question is, how many cups of coffee do you have per day, Jean-Marc?
What I say to my doctor? What
what you want to tell our listeners, I guess, is the
too much. That would be my answer. Okay, too much.
Yeah.
I love coffee. I love espresso. At least my average is probably 3 double espresso per day. That's my average.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm a good kid. I just take 2. But sometimes I'm a bad guy and I take more than 4 or 5. Yeah, too much coffee. I love it. I love coffee. I love coffee so much.
And thank God you're on this podcast then, because then you can have some more coffee and have better ideas. That's my plug for the podcast. Thank you so much for being on, Jean-Marc. It was really enjoyable talking to you, and hopefully we can have you on in the future as well.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
You too. Bye-bye.